I'm showing you.
You're showing me?
Yeah.
I'm walking. Gonna get my steps in for today. Bit of exercise. Up. Change direction.
Well, just tell us a little bit about what's going on at Escape and maybe what we're doing in the stream. We'll get to what we're doing in the stream today, but do you have any updates for us at Escape today? Perhaps? Nothing?
I don't know. I haven't been pre-warned of this question. It's difficult for me just to come up with things. All I'm thinking about is the orientation. The live stream orientation. I'm trying to get...
Well, the weather today in Chilliwack.
Yeah, we're 19 degrees centigrade. No, I can't see what the Fahrenheit number is. I can never remember.
Yeah, we don't
Difference
have
between the two. I guess it's probably somewhere around 68-ish, maybe, Fahrenheit. Something like that.
We've got, what do we have in terms of weather?
Yeah.
Rainy all weekend.
Are we all weekend rain? Oh man, that's gonna suck. I guess maybe we'll just come to work. Long weekend.
Yeah.
It's work every day.
Well, we love it so much, so
Yeah.
we don't mind.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Even on the sunny days, we just like to come in.
Man, it was hot in here last week on that sunny day.
Oh yeah.
Really warm.
For those of you who are watching, we had our fifth wheel showcase, and
Yeah.
man, we were sweating.
We were cooking. Ended up with a few of us shaving off our hair. Just because we couldn't take it anymore. Okay, Escape Trailer is live.
We're live.
See that, so that's good. Let me clear all this off. Put my phone on mute.
So, for those who don't know, this is the pre-stream waiting room, so we just kind of hang out to make sure everyone's connected okay.
Yeah, thank you, Harrison. Thank you, Harrison. So, yeah, pre-stream guys, just getting ready here. Dave's going to join me here in a second, but he's very busy today. We have a whole lot of trailers going out on deliveries. So I think there's 4 trailers going out on a couple of separate deliveries today. But we're getting really good at the trailer delivery process. So, but anybody who's on here, I guess most people, if anybody's on this, because we sprung this a little bit late. This really is our demo, and we're just trying to feel our way through the whole process to see if, feel our way through the process just to figure out how to deliver the orientations. I think the live stream video tours are. Oh, hello. Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to be on this side.
I didn't
or
know
on
what
that
you
side.
wanted, so I'm just going to stand over here, and when you need some help,
Well, I
I'll
think
be with you.
the objective or the plan here today, and we're at just about that time. So when we actually hit, we're in pre-stream mode here now.
Oh,
so
okay,
typically
so
what we
we're
do
not
is we
even
just
on?
I think
we're
we'll.
pre-streaming, just making sure that
We're 3:30 now,
it's
so
working, and
people are connected.
it
and-
automatically bleeps out any sort of foul language or inappropriate comments.
So who's on right now? Just Dustin then?
So
I
we'll
don't see Dustin on here yet, but we've got Daryl.
we'll get Dustin to throw up a comment there for us to
If he's on, hopefully, maybe Daryl.
see if he's on. But there's a bit of a delay here, so we're in about a
15 seconds.
15-second delay between.
So I'm just going to grab a bottle of water quickly.
You go
but
grab some
I'm gonna,
water.
I'm gonna,
You're gonna hang.
I'll hang
Yeah.
here, and then if you need help, I'll join in.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow through and so the same process that we would. It's a basic
Yeah, if you need any.
grab some water and
I will.
then come back to me.
It's been a hot 2 hours.
Yeah.
We have
Who books that with Perry?
Huh?
Who books those trailers with Perry? Who talks about
Melissa.
Melissa?
Yeah.
there we go. Escapes after sales is in here.
Oh.
Just Dustin's
Oh,
in
they
here
might be
with
going
us.
to California. California needs a smaller length truck than the other states. So it's possible they're going to California, which is a smaller truck, and they anyway figure it all out.
Lots of people in the chat, it seems.
Oh wow.
Lots of people watching. We have
Okay.
Gary and Ellen. They said they got their
Excellent.
21.
Gary on also.
Where did they? Yeah. That's for Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeff Thucky was going to join. Jeff Renee.
Probably
We're
might be
going
in
to join
there.
us.
We have
well.
TT Martin in here again. He's been here quite
okay.
often.
Yeah, Tom Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
lots of support
Yeah,
in here.
perfect.
We appreciate everyone coming out.
Okay. Well, we're pretty much on time here. So anyway, listen, guys. Thank you very much for joining us here on the live stream. Obviously, I'm Carl at Escape here. When the virus hit and borders got shut down and everything changed, and I think quite possibly this is a change for the future rather than a change that's only happened in the past. Can you even say that? Anyway, a change I think for the future. So what it did for us at Escape was gave us pause and opportunity to really look at the orientation process that we have and decide, you know, how can we make this better going forward? And it's something that's been nagging at us for or at me anyway, for the whole year here, is that we do these very lengthy orientations when a customer comes in. A part of it is hitch setup, so you can take that away. But in general, they're a very lengthy orientation. And I know when people come in, I mean, they're thinking about getting back across the border, they're thinking about their first night of camping, they're all this stuff, and then they're trying to absorb all the information, and they're trying to review their trail or make sure everything is in order for them. So it's very difficult to absorb all the information a person needs during the orientation. So we had this idea previously, and this is when we did the orientation videos initially, was let's try and help get people educated in advance. So I think this is a great opportunity for us now to live stream and have you on the other end essentially putting questions to us. Now obviously you can join us anonymously, or you can sign in, create an account, and then be able to ask questions. Now I'm very fortunate today. I have our two sort of premier after sales specialists with me. Dustin is online here on the other side of not the other side of the camera, but in virtual world, in the internet space. So Dustin is on there, and Dustin's going to furiously type and respond because he types faster than any of the rest of us do. So he'll be typing responses back to you. And Dustin is principally now working from home, and congratulations to Dustin. He just had himself his first baby there, really just a few days, you could say, last week ago. So he's a very proud and happy father. So congratulations to him. But he is continuing to work from home and be a great support to you sort of while you're there. So we're going to do live stream orientations. Now the plan to break the orientation down into manageable chunks is we're going to do what we call a level 1 orientation, which is kind of a novice level, basic level orientation. And the strategy behind that is that it gives you enough information to understand the systems and how to use the systems at a very functional and basic level. The next level after that will be level 2, and then of course level 3, and we kind of go intermediate and advanced. And the strategy there is that we're kind of taking you through to being a super level technician with the trailer, so that you can DIY fix everything, pretty much everything that you need to fix on your own. That's going to come down the road, and I'm not the guy to deliver that content, and we just got to figure out how we're going to deliver that content. But my expectation is that we'll do these level 1 sort of brief walkthroughs with the Q&A stuff twice a week, and then we'll start to roll in and rope in the other live streams. And then the great thing about it is, of course, is you can join twice, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, as many times as you want, as many times as it takes for you to feel like you've become familiar enough with the product that you feel very confident with it. There isn't that much in the systems. A lot of the time it's just learning them and moving forwards from there. Okay, so Dave's going to shadow me in the back here, and probably you might hear him shouting at me every now and then, "That's wrong, Carl," or or jumping in and expanding a little bit further when I stumble on it. So I'm kind of using myself as a little bit of a guinea pig, and I'm trying to somewhat be you with respect to this trailer. And I can't remember everything. I would have to go to my cheat sheet if that was the case. Now, what I'm going to work off, to some extent anyway, is the drive away checklist that we have prepared, and which everyone should receive when they receive the trailer, as a drive away checklist. And the drive away checklist is a really good close it all up checklist that you would simply pretty much reverse when you go to deploy on your campsite. However, driving away checklist is the most important because it makes sure you are safe on the road, which is absolutely critical. So I'm going to conduct this in a very similar way to which Dave did it when he did the orientations here. I'm going to start by entering the trailer. I'm just going to enter. We're going to walk left, and we'll just kind of go through system by system. Please feel free to type your questions in there to Dustin. Okay, so Harrison, we're going to get you to Joe first, just because there's enough room for 2 of us to fit through the door. As you walk into the trailer, typically you'll have your fire extinguisher on the wall here. We've taken it off in the showroom. Oh, sorry, I should say we're in the 21NE today. So Jeff, this is kind of exactly what you have. We're in 21NE today. I'm just going to go around the systems in here, and then we're going to move into our orientation room. And in our orientation room, because we have all the systems laid out, if you like, on the wall and on tables for ourselves, it makes it a lot easier for us to sort of do a show and tell with them at that time. So as I start off and walk through this one, it will typically have its fire extinguisher. If I look on the left hand side, I have up higher 2 switches. The inboard switch is my central LED lights in my trailer. Turn that back on. I got that part. Of course, we know that they're all switchable from the center as well. So switch them on and off, and that works really well for you. The lights on the side do not work off the switch, so you have to switch them independently. And of course, lights in the center can switch. You can have the 2-pole going or have single pole going, depending on which switch you throw. The switch outboard is your exterior lights that are connected. And for those who have a power awning, your isolator. So we'll keep going here. Isolator switch for your power awning. Very important that this is in the off position when you're packing up to drive away. Okay, and you can test that with your controller. Obviously, your controller for your power awning, and you can make sure that it is not opening. So I can see it is turned off and it is not opening. That's very important for that to happen, because it's an expensive repair bill if you leave it and then this were to fall onto the ground. And Dave and I have both experienced that happening to a customer in the past. Okay, as I walk my way through here, nothing really to talk about in the sink area.
There's a GFI plug there.
A GFI plug right here.
The reset would be on the outside.
And the reset is on the
outside
outside plug. Okay, so for this GFI plug, that's on the outside plug. Now, when we're going to close up the trailer, of course, one of the most important things to do is close up the windows. When you have the frameless windows, it's on a knob like this, or it could be just a straight up circular knob, depending on on which ones we had delivered from them. And you want to close this up. You want to get it reasonably snug. So there is a little sticker on all the windows here on the book screens that kind of says tighten it up well, because if you don't tighten it up nicely, it could force it to open up when you're going down the highway. So you want to give that a good snug tightening. Of course, any loose items you have, like our very nice plant here, need to go away so they don't bounce around all over your trailer as you're driving down the road. Just working through as I get to the cooktop. On your cooktop, and we'll talk about the operation of the cooktop when we move back in, but closing it up, make sure the lid is down on your cooktop. Very important. Your vent fan, so very simple operation, lights on and off, fan on and off, make sure everything is turned off. Continuing to work my way around, we get to our panel, our display panel. In our display panel, essentially we have battery, fresh water, black water, and grey water. If I check my batteries, here I can see that they're full, so the battery indicator is sort of labeled on the bottom. And then if I move to my fresh, I should have some, and I do, so it's approximately a third of a tank or thereabouts. And black, of course, is empty, and grey on this one is empty. At the same point here, I have the switch for my water heater to turn on and my water pump to turn on. When they're turned on, and I'm not going to turn this on, when they're turned on, they will stay lit.
Right, so we'll just interrupt here for a sec here. When they are lit, there will be a fault light up here. So then once it does light, that will go out.
The light will disappear. Yeah.
The light switch always stays on, but the fault light will go away.
Come out.
If it's ever on, then you're out of propane.
Perfect. Yeah. And if you're on the two-way water heater,
so that's switched on the outside. This is propane side.
This is propane side only. So that's a really good point to note. Propane side only. And then of course my water pump.
Right.
Same deal.
Yeah. This
right.
The light stays on and your pump works and it's on demand. So turn your tap on, the pump will shut off when you turn the tap off.
Very good. I hope everybody heard that. Dave said it way better than me.
He probably did.
He did a great job, much better job. He's done a gazillion of them. As I zip around the side, we obviously the windows are all closed, and we have our oops. like digital display on here. So this is a digital thermostat, which has to be put in at the time of build. So if you have an air conditioning unit going in, you'll have this digital thermostat, and it will be connected to the furnace and the air conditioner, but it does not switch between cool and heat on both. So you're either in heat or you're in cool on it.
That's right. So one thing of note is when we turn them on, or do you want me?
You go ahead. You want to do it here?
We got power on here. So one thing is, these are touch. They're not push.
Oh yeah.
Right. So we want to make sure that we don't push them, or they start acting erratic. There's foam on the back. If it gets pushed in, it'll start making its own temperature, doing its own thing. So you would touch it once, and it comes up as automatic. So there's automatic, low, and high. You want to have that on automatic. And the reason for that is you could have your furnace and the air conditioner fan will come on, because it really controls the fan in the air conditioner.
Right.
A lot of people will be camping and they don't like the air conditioner coming totally on or totally off. So if it's on low or high, only the compressor kicks off and on, but the fan stays on.
Right.
So you would hit it again. You'll see a snowflake. That's your air conditioner. Hit it again, and that's your furnace. So right now, we're in Canada, so it's on Celsius. So you push and hold the up and down button, and it'll change it to Fahrenheit. And then one more touch, and it's off.
Excellent.
Okay?
Excellent. That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That was good. Fridge. You obviously want to make sure everything is secure inside your fridge and your freezer. And then we'll close everything up. Now these are, the Medic obviously keep changing their fridges. It used to be that the controls were on the exterior of the fridge. Now they're on the interior. We'll go through this when we get into the demonstration room. I think it'll be easier to talk about it. But they're all three-way AC. I'm going to say AC and gas or propane, and then also have DC. But you have to manually force into DC. Typically, you'll auto between AC and gas, and if you're on 120 volt, it's going to go straight to AC, and it will flip over to propane, assuming you have propane in your tanks afterwards, and that will keep it running. We'll talk a little bit more about propane tanks when we move outside, and the effect on your fridge as we go through. Okay, so working our way through, that's pretty much that section done, and the air conditioning we've talked about. We'll work our way down into the bathroom. Very important, or things will get messy.
Well, they don't get messy. So what happens is that's the next point that gray water will come up. So I always travel with that locked down, and that way, if you haven't drained your tanks or 3/4 full, whatever, like the more water you would put down in your sink, that's the next place it's going to come up if the tank gets full.
So probably a good idea.
Always travel with it locked down.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that should be in a locked position, and we move up to the vent fan. So the vent fan, when it's up, it is open, and you want to close it by pulling it down.
You only use the fan when it's up.
And of course, you only use the fan when it's up. That's right. Yes, good point. We're deadheads against it. So pretty basic in the washroom. Not much else to talk about. Yeah. Max fan. So max fan would be maybe in your open position.
So you can travel with it fully open or fully closed. So you would pull it down, and now you lock it. Now it's in the up position.
Yeah.
And that's fine for traveling and going down the road. It has a hood on it so the rain won't come in. Okay. Turn it on. Just simple push the button. Turns it on. Default is for to suck air out. And you can control your speed with the plus and minus. And if you want to reverse it so it's blowing down, you just hit your reverse. You can't wreck the motor. It will stop by itself before it starts going the other way.
So it cycles down, soft start, and
away it goes again. And then the third button there would be when that green light's on, it's set for 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So it thermostatically comes on if it gets above 78 by itself. So you can go out hiking, leave it like that, come back if it's hot.
Right.
So if you left Pooch in here, he's getting there.
Yeah, and if Pooch is in here and he has a particularly gaseous day, and he's on his own, it's quite possibly set off your propane detector,
That's right.
which is
Yeah.
down in this model. It's right down on the bottom over there. Your propane detector. Okay, and that has happened
It
to
has.
many a person. I remember
they're-
talking about the rally last year.
Well, they're very sensitive too. So when you get them, if say your wife has brand new boots on, she's standing beside there, it will go off.
Oh wow, I didn't
It
realize.
smells
that.
the leather like with that. So
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
pretty
So
sensitive.
whatever fumes are coming off.
Right.
those.
So sometimes you'll find with a new trailer, you'll get some off gassing
Yeah.
because of all the new materials and stuff, and that can potentially set
Right.
that off as well.
Right. So vent it out, open things up.
Open things up.
And it'll shut off
Yeah.
after a time. Okay, as we start to move into the back, this really becomes your area, far more so. Explaining some of the electrics, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about some of this in the back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easier. You can show them where it is, but it's
Yeah,
easier
so
to
we'll just
explain it in the back.
point some things out, and I know Jim, the CPA Harley, was asking us about the EMS, which is you're really talking about this guy back here. Previously, it was just really awkward for us to start pulling things up and pulling tables out to get in and have a look at it last time. But the EMS isn't here. It shows a whole lot of error codes on it. We'll tell you what it does when we move back into the room, and then the readout for it is here. So this will display the error codes for you, and it also has a couple of features on there for bypass and normal. And the bypass is something that you would use if you were running a generator because it has a floating ground. So that will be important to do. We'll look at this as well. So that's the location for the GoPower solar controller. As we come around the back in this side, you have your distribution panel. This is the battery disconnect switch. This is the new one that we're using. This trailer has the inverter in place, and of course the inverter takes your DC power and converts it to AC power. And there are two options on the inverter, whether a person has the, I'm going to sales mode again. There's two options on the inverter. So you might have one that just has one outlet, and you might have one that has all the outlets. Now if you have the one that has all the outlets, it actually feeds into another little sub panel that then goes out to all the outlets that you have. So that's the inverter. We'll talk more about that when we get inside and we talk about the solar system. Okay, so assuming everything's been locked up, we will move outside, and we know that our awning is not going to open. All right, so we lock everything up. We're good to go. Close the door over, deadbolt, and then the lock for your latch. It goes over. Pull your step away, otherwise it'll get ripped off somewhere. Now we're going to talk about the exterior of the trailer. So I'll start here. I'll start here and work my way around. We'll go this way. Okay, we're going to go the opposite way to the way I went when we were demoing it to ourselves. All right. Exterior shower. If we have the exterior shower, you have your hot and your cold water in place, and it is simply a quick connect in there, and you would turn them on and wash whatever you need to wash.
While you're traveling, take it out.
Oh, of course, when we're traveling we would remove this, so we are now going to remove this because we're traveling. Oh, gosh. So we'll remove this and place it where it should go, well, where we're going to put it, which is in here. Close this back up. That is good. While we're here, we could go ahead and if we wanted to check our tire pressure.
50 psi.
50 psi, yeah, 50 psi maximum is what we recommend in the tire. So you check your tire pressure. We're not going to worry about bearings or anything. This is not a maintenance section. We're just going on a trip. Of course, you want to close off any exterior hatches that you have and lock them up. So I'm just going to sort of slide this one down. So we would close this off and we would lock it up with your key. It's back open. Stabilizer jacks. I was going to say leveling jacks, but stabilizer jacks. So stabilizer jacks, so you've got this speed arm here for the stabilizer jacks, and you'd work those back up and keep them nice and secure. Back up and secure. There we go. That's up and it's tight. I would remove that, put that away, and that's everything on that side is now complete. We'll continue our tour around the back. Nothing really to talk about on the back side of the trailer, Dave? apart from having your windows closed, which you would do from the inside anyway.
Right.
Yeah. You know, a very, very quick, just for people who have this, is remember we had this reverse, this camera here, Harrison, the backup camera? People can take, so if you have the backup camera works wirelessly to the monitor that will be in your vehicle, and the monitor in your vehicle will plug into your 12 volt, and you have to have your running lights on. Running lights? Not your running lights, your...
So basically your marker lights on your trailer,
marker lights,
if they're
trailer.
on,
Yeah.
that powers the camera head.
Yeah, marker lights are on, the monitor is on,
Right.
and you will see it. And of course on that, you should read the instructions of course for the monitor, but it has mirror mode on it, and if things are reversed or upside down.
Yeah, we're making sure they're set. If it's set on the rear, it's always the right way.
Yeah, we set it, but if you mess with it and it kind of goes weird or backwards or off to the side, then you need to change the setting, because they're set up for a few different cameras. Okay, move to the rear. You would remove your 120 volt power. This one is our kind of screw-on lock option, so it's a removable power cord. For those who just have the straight-up power cord, you would shove it all back in and close it over. This one just happens to have an exterior shower. We've already covered off that. Make sure your steer tube holder is locked position. Then we move to our water heater. So in our water heater, I'll just pull this open very quickly. Sorry. Very quickly, in our water heater. Now this is our two-way water heater, so this works on both propane and 120 volt. Good idea to turn the water heater off when good idea to turn the water heater off after, especially if you've drained it down.
When you winterize it, you want to
And when you winterize it, you turn it off. If you turn it back on and it's empty and you're on 120 volts, you'll burn out your elements. That's not so much fun. Now there was something else in here, Dave, about making sure and checking that it's full.
So the only way to tell if it's full is to pull your pressure relief valve, and water will come out. You can see it dripping out there. That's the only way you can tell if the hot water tank has water in it.
So good idea to check, especially if you're going to go on, if you have this option and you're going to run on 120 volts, make sure there's water in there or you'll burn out your elements. Okay, take that back up, plug it in. Oops, there we go. And that she goes. Let me get to our water fill area. Two options here for water fill. So this one, we can shove a hose in and fill up our fresh water. Pretty simple. This one is our city water fill. Oops, sorry. City water fill. A couple points to note on this city water fill. Two things. One, this cone that we see here should be pointing with the narrow end out, just like this is, because it has a check valve in it. So if you put it in the other way, as soon as you turn your water pump on, it'll start ejecting water out on you. So you screw it in. Now another thing we can do, because city pressure can vary, is you can have a pressure reducer attachment, which you can buy anywhere. We also sell them here as an accessory for people. So, and that will basically take it down to the right pressure that you need for the internal system inside the trailer. I get that right?
You did, but the pressure regulator would actually go on the city side on the end of the hose.
Yeah.
That way you're protecting the hose as well as your trailer.
Oh, as well. Okay, very good. Obviously, you remove your coax from here. The fridge. Nothing really to talk about on the fridge. Nothing to really talk about this side, at least in this video. People are going to talk about sales switches and all sorts of things. That'll be next. That's further down, level 2, level 3. We'll talk about those things. This is your furnace. Much of anything to talk about on the sewer side?
Not unless you're going to dump. But
Not unless you're going to dump.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Just make sure they're closed before you pull away, and you're not driving away with a hose attached.
Yeah.
And everything's sealed up there and pushed in.
Yeah, have your hose removed and closed, and make sure your valves are closed. Again, checking through, you'll check through your hatches. Make sure you don't have your ZAMP connected. Good clear walk around. And we get back up front here. This is our propane. Depending on the state, depending on the requirements of your state, you may need to have this completely turned off when you're driving down the highway. Of course, your fridge will run on propane, even when you're driving. So depending on where you are, you can sort of maintain that or run from here. Word of warning, if you're not running on propane and you've switched over to DC and you're driving your vehicle, and there's a lot of power draw into the fridge, if you were to drain your batteries down, it will also, if you drain your batteries down, then it will go and drain your vehicle down. So if you go park up somewhere for lunch and you happen to spend 2 or 3 hours in there, you can end up with a drained battery in your vehicle, which isn't a whole lot of fun. It's great fun. Obviously this part is all to do with hitching and the hitch setup, which we're not going to do in this video. We're going to do something more dedicated to hitches and hitch setup later on. Okay, continue to walk around. We'd make sure that the rock guard is in place.
Vent over there.
Oh yes, good point, Harrison. Yeah, so your range hood vent will likely be in the open position because you've been at your campsite or wherever you are and you're cooking. So you'll want to make sure this is closed off and locked in place. And these can be a little finicky and a little delicate, so a little bit of mechanical sympathy is it's a good idea on there. It's a pain if you snap those little plastic tabs. Okay, how do we do, Dave?
Pretty
The
good.
exterior all
Yeah.
pretty much tickety-boo and done. That's it. I guess if a person had a manual awning, the only thing would be making sure that it is fully retracted and is a locked position. So we'll have a look on this one.
Your windows are closed first.
Yes. Oh, yes, very good point. When you're pulling back, especially if you have frameless windows, make sure they're closed first, then bring your manual awning all the way back, and then of course you have the close and the open position. And it's a little, it kind of looks like this lever should be further over, but it isn't. So you have that's our open position, which is fully back. This is our closed position, and the quick test, of course, is that we pull on here, and then we know she's locked in place. So very important. I mean, the awning is a really important thing to make sure you have locked up before you travel. It's the one thing that could deploy on the road, and that's just not a whole lot of fun. Okay, very good. Now we're going to move down into our orientation room and do a little bit more an explanation on some of the things, particularly maybe the solar system. We're going to do massive detail, but we'll kind of talk through how the thing generally works, and we might buffer between here and there. So if we do and if we lose you, please stay with us. We'll move forwards. Continue asking your questions in there. Dustin will keep answering. If there's anything that we can't answer right now, or they just come too fast for him, we'll keep note. We save the live stream. We'll go back and we'll make sure we answer them back to you afterwards. Okay? Oh, good. All right. Let's wander our way into it. It's quite exciting. It's our first ever live stream orientation. Oops, wrong way. Okay, where shall we start? I should move this out of here. I won't even worry about it. Oh, it's not all of those. Okay, I'll give the real high level view of the solar system and how it basically puts electricity into your trailer, and then Dave will kind of follow it through with more detail, especially on anything I miss out on or misspeak on, or something. But I'll pretty much get to that. Solar panel, as you know, takes sun, solar, and converts it to electricity. But it's got to be clean, so it works better when it's actually clean. So keep it clean, and it'll give you some good amps, and Dustin will give you the exact current that it'll push. All this does is charge your batteries, and it does it by going through the solar charger. The solar controller. So this is your controller. This determines how much current to put into the batteries. Okay? And there's a whole lot of features and smart technology built into this controller, and they just keep updating them all the time. So the most recent update for us is that it's now Bluetooth, and it can feed out to an app on your phone, so it will give you all the details. Okay, So solar panel goes through the solar controller, which charges your batteries. Electricity in your batteries is direct current, so it's always DC in your batteries. And then the battery feeds, if it's going this way, the battery feeds up into your panel and then off into your trailer. I'm going to stop at that part. Dave's going to talk about the EMS later on. If you want to use power from your batteries when you're boondocking, then you need to have the inverter. And many of you get the inverter, and pretty much everybody who takes the solar also takes the inverter. So your inverter is fed from your batteries, it converts the power from DC to AC and feeds it into the panel. And then from there on out. Now, Dave's going to talk a little bit more about this, but I'll leave you with this. If you want to disconnect your battery from the systems inside your trailer, you use your disconnect switch. Older models, all the models pre, I guess, mid 2019 had this type of disconnect switch in. Newer models and all current models now have this type of disconnect switch in place. If you throw the disconnect, it will cut all power inside the trailer, but it doesn't stop your batteries charging. Your batteries from solar. It doesn't stop your batteries charging from solar. Of course, your batteries also charge from your vehicle or from shore power as well. So that's my very simple explanation of how this solar system works. I think if you want to do the button thing here.
You can do it now, or you can do it if it went down there.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
There's not much else to talk about on this.
So what you would want to do is, first of all, you want to make sure we have flooded batteries in here. So you want to make sure that this is unflooded. And if you push the B button, it scrolls through. So this one's saying the battery's at 73%. Push it again, 12.5 volts. So it's good to note that 10.6 volts is 0, 11.6 is 50%, 12.6 is 100%. You never want to get your batteries, flooded batteries, down below 50%. It lowers the life expectancy of the battery, right? So one of the new feature on this as well is because we get phone calls saying, well, how much power is going into our batteries? The new ones tell you how many amp hours you're actually putting in there. So if you draw down your batteries, you think you're getting direct sun, but this will only tell you, well, you actually only got 5 hours.
Right. Of course, we can't really show that here because...
Right, because we're inside, it's dark, so it's showing 0 amp hours. It's got nothing from there. There's also a moon here because we're inside. That should be a sun.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So this is a good way to see the state of your batteries. It also has a max boost phase. And when you push that, it does it by itself, I think about once a month. But if you push that, you knew you were going to be using your furnace a lot that night, a lot of, a lot of a draw. You'd push that, boost would show here, and it would stay in a max boost phase till it got to 14.4 volts. Right. If it doesn't get to 14.4, that boost stays on. You can't turn it off, and it doesn't hurt it. It'll just stay on. Now the AC, it also acts as a remote switch for your inverter. So you would push and hold that for about 3 seconds. Top right, the AC plug came on. Now our inverter's on. If you have it wired to the whole trailer through the transfer switch, it takes about 40 seconds, right?
Right. So yes, you switch it on. It's not instantaneous.
It takes about 40
seconds before it actually powers through.
And that powers your plugs.
Yeah.
Your whole trailer is 12 volts, so a lot of people will phone me and they'll say, well, I don't know why the plugs aren't working, my lights are working. Totally separate. That is just 110, it's just powering your plugs.
Right, assuming you've opted for the option to have all the plugs with the transfer switch.
See?
There you go.
There it just
came on. Yeah, very good. Okay, so that's run that through. We'll do how long did we do? So this is your electrical management system. Surge protector.
Yep.
All here.
You want me to touch on that?
Yeah, please, just very quickly.
Okay, so what I always tell people to do, back into your campsite, plug in your trailer. because if this surge protector does not like the power, it won't let power into your trailer. So the first thing you do is when you plug in, this is going to be in the normal use. It's going to tell you how many amps, hertz, and how many volts you have. So what you want it to see is E0 is what it's doing right there, right? Anything else isn't good. So there's a little flashing light here. As long as that light is flashing, there's no power going into your trailer.
Right.
All right, so E0 is normal. It takes about 3 minutes. It'll be about a 3-minute delay. So the reason I tell people to back into your campsite, plug your trailer in, because if this doesn't like power, it could be reverse polarity, no ground. You're gonna have to ask the campground host to either fix it or move. So there's nothing worse than having to load up your trailer again, put it back on your tow vehicle and go. You'll have a little card in there, but they're also written on here, all the air codes, E1 reverse polarity.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, that's a popular one. So if you see P up there, it's previous air.
Right.
Right? So say your power went out, as you're still plugged in, came back on, this would tell you what it was. Maybe it was low voltage. The only time that P goes away is when you unplug your trailer, plug it back in, it resets it.
So key point I get from it if I was just driving in is go to your campsite, power up.
Yeah.
Don't take the hitch off or anything. Give it 3 minutes. It's going to take 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Give it 3 minutes. If all is good and you're on E0, you're good to go. Unpack. If it isn't, then you're reverse polarity. You got to go back to the campsite. There's something wrong with the power here. We need another site.
That's right. So this is the only part you really see in the trailer. It says normal and bypass. Bypass is off, right? So the only time you would ever want to have that in bypass is, like you said earlier, is if you were hooked up to your generator, because generators don't have an earth ground. This doesn't like it. It'll come up, it'll say E2, which is open ground. So if you trust your generator, you would put it in bypass. It says off.
Yeah.
But usually if this goes off, first thing people want to do is turn it off. But it's doing its job. Let it do its job. There's
Right.
a reason.
Right. Okay. That was a good explanation. It's probably about the 6th or 7th time I've had it.
So that is
That's why that's why I think the live streams are going to be valuable for people to come back time and time again to, is that it's a lot of little bits of information to try and get your head around. Of course, the manual has it all. It's all in the manual. But so if you're a good reader, you read the manual, you have your glasses with you, you can read the manual. That happens.
And
then
all the parts in your trailer all come with the manuals.
manuals are all there,
That's
so
right.
you can get it from there. But failing that, like this is the place to come and get your refresher and ask the questions. All right, good. Let's move her on. So we talked about the water heater already, so that's done.
Yeah.
If it's a two-way.
It's two-way, so you just want to make sure you drain it.
Yeah, and of course the propane is the igniter is 12 volt.
12 volts. They're all DSI. Everything in the trailers is DSI.
Yeah.
Except the oven.
Work our way down. We've already talked about the digital controller. Now, here is the furnace controller.
If you don't have air conditioning.
If you don't have air
Someone
conditioning,
asked about
this
that,
is your
actually.
manual. Yeah. So we get a lot of people who buy an inventory trailer, or they buy a trailer that doesn't have air conditioning in the first place, and then they want to put air conditioning into it. For the most part, any inventories we build from here on in, we always kind of get them ready for air conditioning. But if you were to put air conditioning in afterwards, you would not have this digital controller. You only get this when the air conditioning goes in at time of build. So this is a fairly basic, I think everyone has seen a controller like this, fairly simple to set it, and you have the on and off button on the top. We've talked about this guy and the display, so that is done. We'll just move down and we'll get towards the fridge. Of course, if you're traveling, it was a hob or a cooktop in the other one, and then this is one of the older style ovens that we have, cook ovens that we have. So we have some other ones coming in that are a little bit different, but basically the same idea. And all of them, turn the gas on, hit the spark, and it'll fire up the gas. In the oven, you have to light the pilot manually. And you light the pilot manually, you can then leave it lit for the duration of your stay, and control it from here. When you're traveling, you'll want to keep this down to be safe. All right, we'll move through. Now, everyone's favorite. How many calls do we get about the fridge?
We get lots. So there's 3 buttons on it, and all the fridges are the same. you have your on and off. So we turn that on. It takes a couple seconds there, but it always goes back to where you had it set before. So you always don't have to keep setting it, right? I always keep mine on automatic. I don't have a problem driving with gas. So this would light up to gas when you're not plugged into your campsite, but if it's on automatic, it'll automatically go to AC. So 120 volt supersedes gas. So even if you're running on gas, when you plug it in, it'll go to AC automatically. The most confusing button for people is this middle button. As you can see, it says DC and AC. That is strictly an on-off button for 12 volt power. Now you're just running off your batteries, right? So auto doesn't work with DC. The only time auto works is when you're using gas or AC.
And do people, I mean, I guess unless their state specifically requires it and they're abiding by those rules, do people run off DC?
A lot of people aren't confident to run with propane. It makes them nervous, but propane has a higher flash point than gasoline. It's quite safe, and there's safety check valves in the trailer. It only uses like, say, 1 amp of power to run the board, so the rest is gas. So people have killed their batteries before by leaving their 7-pin connector.
I think DC should say dead car. I mean dead car.
If I had my way, no fridge would have DC.
That's right.
The next button you would see is check. So just like your monitor panel, if that light comes on and you're running on propane, the fridge is not running. You're out of propane.
Right.
Okay. You got 1 to 5 there. 5 being the coldest. I always tell people to start at 3, and you can turn it up if it's not cold enough. 5 does not make the fridge get cold any faster. It's only how cold it gets. So if you only needed it on 3, just start on 3. It's not going to do you any favors putting it on 5 except freeze your lettuce.
Right.
And that's basically it. Like I said, pretty straightforward, but this middle button with the DC AC really confuses some people.
So the main thing is, unless you're really confident and you know what you're doing and you're very much under control, kind of stay away from DC as much as possible.
Well, and one of the questions we get all the time is, well, I have a solar. Why is my batteries going dead?
Right.
So the max I believe that solar will put into your batteries if they were going dead is 9 amps. This particular fridge here, the smaller one, draws 10. So you're always at a deficit. You're always draining your batteries unless you're driving.
I like your idea. Pretend it's never there.
That's right. Put tape over.
Good. So I think that's covered off. We've covered off pretty much everything in this sort of. Actually, that was more than a basic run through. More than what I intended from a basic run through, but I wasn't quite sure. Dave had a lot of work going on today with trailer deliveries and different things. I wasn't quite sure if I was doing this on my own or not. So the intention was we do a basic one, but you know, thank you, Dave. Always very helpful to everybody, including me, and much appreciated. So guys, a couple of things. We need your feedback on this. I know there's a few of you on there. Please give us feedback. We want to make this a much better experience for everybody. Daryl's going to pop up a link there to a form that we have. It's just a straight up Google form. It's 10 to 15 questions on it. We're going to do the same thing we've been doing on our live our live video tours, which is every day we'll pick somebody who we'll pick a winner from there, and then they get a piece of merchandise, any merchandise that we have. That's the first part. What was the second part, Harrison?
I don't know what the second part is.
That was it. Well, no, I had a second part in my head. One was go and do the form, but the second part was please give us constructive feedback. We don't take anything personally. Just tell us what you want to see or what you want to hear, and we'll work to make that happen for you.
We want to make it better for you.
We absolutely want to make it better for you.
This is for you guys. We're doing it for you, and we really just want to make it what you guys want. We want to make sure we're using our time.
I like the idea that a person can come back time and time again and watch the same thing kind of pretty much over and over again. And what we'll start doing is we'll start kind of highlight reeling this. I know CPA Harley's already tested that out for us. So we'll reel off areas of this, and then we'll have little links and my goal when we've built up sufficient content is that we're able to personally deliver to everybody based on the customization of their trailer, highlight reels that are for them, just for you. So Escape Trailer, built just for you. Thank you very much, everybody. we'll see you again. Bye from me. Bye from Dave.
See you later.
And bye from
Bye from
Harrison.
Harrison.
Have a great weekend. We're off on Monday. Nobody's here. See you now.